Hello, Photo Silver, and welcome to your deck review. For those of you joining us for the first time on YouTube, this is a series where I, Maldhound, a known yeller and mean guy, will very nicely and politely tell you what's wrong with your PP. Your PP is your premise and your practicum. Your premise is the idea behind your deck. For today's deck, we're looking at an Assassin's Creed Dimir beatdown deck, not too much wrong there. And then the other side is your practicum. This is the stuff you put in the deck and whether or not it effectuates the plan you laid out. That's where we have a lot wrong. And it's not really your fault. This is the first deck you've ever built. It's the set that got you into the game. And blue-black aggro kind of blows dicks, dude. Did I say that 43 seconds in? Great, we won't get demonetized. Blows ass. It's not good. There's ways we can make it a lot better. There's ways we can definitely make it serviceable in bracket 3, where you currently are, because you have some game changers. Yeah, there's Mystical Tutor that you talked about in the primer. We could bring this down to bracket 2 and you would be really happy. There's definitely ways for it to operate at bracket 3. If you want to use as many Assassin's Creed cards as possible, bracket 2. That's my line for anybody who wants to primarily operate within one set or primarily operate within one intellectual property. Those are almost always bracket 2 because you're sacrificing so much to have an Assassin's Creed character on the art instead of have the text box be good. If you want it to be mostly Assassins and you want it to feel Assassin's Creedy but be good, we can get to bracket 3, no problem. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to pull the trigger on something you floated in your submission form, which is, oh man, I could switch to Basim Ibn Ishak. He's way better for what we want to do. You want to play Ezio Blade of Vengeance. You want to draw some cards when assassins hit people. That's great. This motherfucker's 5 stone cold mana. That means we either need to be ramping a ton or our deck needs to be operating very, very smoothly. And then when we get to 5 lands, Ezio gets played, refills our hand. Great. Much harder to do that than it is to just go, hey, what's in my command zone? 2 mana? Great. He draws cards, is unblockable, and makes himself bigger. Great. So Basim does everything you want just in the command zone. It makes it a little bit more flexible. It makes it easier to, it just makes everything easier. So I would suggest swapping to Basim for now, because the other thing that's going to give you is right now, you don't really know what you're doing up until 5 mana. Like what you should be doing if you want to play Ezio is we should be ramping a shitload. I would say like 12 pieces of ramp straight up so that you can just like ramp, Ezio, go. Ramp, Ezio, go. Or you need to have a very, very solid plan for, okay, I'm going to play Avon Heartstabber. Like I'm going to curve. I'm going to play Brotherhood of Spy, and then I'm going to play the Eyeblight Assassin, and then I'm going to play Achilles, and then I'm going to play Ezio, and then they're all going to be unblockable, and they're all going to draw me a bunch of cards. Those decks are meaningfully harder to navigate. So if you are up to the challenge, it's definitely doable, but I'm going to plow ahead with the Basim plan because I think it's going to be a lot more satisfying, and you can still have Ezio in the Basim deck. Because the other freedom it's going to give us is, right now it's like, what's happening in the early game? I don't know. Something is going to happen before Ezio gets played. Basim in the command zone. What's happening turn 2? Every single game I ever play, I am playing Basim. What needs to happen turn 3 of every single game I ever play? I'm going to play something that triggers Basim. It's just much simpler. And so if we go to Basim, we want to be with historics. So that means we want to keep legendaries from Assassin's Creed, we want to keep sagas from Assassin's Creed, and we want to keep artifacts from Assassin's Creed. And then we can move out to other legendaries, artifacts, sagas, but we really want the Assassin's Creed stuff. So that guy has to stay. This guy, oh no. Okay. Yeah, I see where it all broke down. All right, let's start checking out legendaries because I'm going to recommend we cut Rooftop, Eyeblight, Avon Heartstabber, the non-Assassin's Creed guys. Counterspells are cute. If you do go to Basim, I would cut all the ramp. If you go to a Basim deck, you're not going to be ramping anymore. If you play artifacts, you're going to be playing like equipable, like you're going to be playing equipments to make your assassins better. Um, Cute, very cute. Sure, sure. I don't think you need this, but I do understand it. Absolutely not. Cut both of these right away. Token generator. I don't think we need to make tokens in a deck like this, but Realm Sketching is a very good card. I'm inclined to have you cut Rooftop Bypass, mainly because it's not going to be historic. Random bullshit, go. Yeah, no, we don't need to turn our non-assassins into assassins. Get rid of it. We'll have enough. You'll have enough. You'll be fine. Cover of Darkness is pretty good. It's very thematic. You can play it for a very low mana cost. It's going to make your entire board unblockable, basically. Double Down's really cute. I think the problem with Double Down and the deck we're trying to move to, and even the deck you already have, a lot of the good stuff is legendary. Because a lot of the good stuff is legendary, this isn't going to break the legend rule. You're just going to get shit on. And maybe this is what convinced you to run so many of the really bad yet flavorful Assassins cards. Stuff like Brotherhood Patriarch is going to be the stuff that has to die because it just doesn't do anything. He's not particularly good at fighting. His death trigger is not particularly powerful. Like, there is his only contribution to the deck as it stands is flavor because he has assassin in the type line. That is like bottom of bracket 2. Like, precons have more synergy going than that. Now stuff like Basim, our new commander, right? He's an assassin. He's good at becoming unblockable. He's making himself bigger. He's drawing us cards. Ezio, he's going to draw us a ton of cards. He has Death Touch, which makes him valuable as a blocker. Achilles has Menace. He's going to buff our board. This isn't even a particularly strong one, but he's giving us something. And so we need stuff that is going to give us something to directly help the game plan of I'm coming into your house and I'm hitting you. And if you aren't good at that game plan, you probably don't get to stay. Like, even Atrata is acceptable, but it is a goofy haha fun type card, which is perfect for bracket 2 or bottom of bracket 3, which is where we're about at. But it doesn't help us achieve what we're trying to do. I think this is some recursion. That's kind of all right. He's a little bit unblockable, gives us a little bit of card advantage, and they draw each other. That's pretty good. 37 lands is appropriate. Removal is okay. I think the problem we're going to have with removal is that we're going so slowly that the rest of the table is always going to have more stuff to remove than we can ever possibly answer. Maybe that gets better when we have Beseek in the command zone and we can begin drawing cards much more quickly. But what I would be looking for, it's like either repeatable removal or one-sided board wipes. And so a good one-sided board wipe for you could be not the Palisader, Raise the Palisade, which is from Lord of the Rings, which, like, hey, what is Gollum if not an assassin? I'm so sorry. Which is not from the IP you want, and so it's again the difference between bracket 2 if we're IP locked, bracket 3 if we're not IP locked. But you can just pick assassin on turn 5, bounce all these other fuck ass elves, these dinosaurs, these birds, angels, dragons, whatever. And they have more of this type of stuff in black as well. Low cost creatures. This is another beautiful thing. We'll be able to like cut entirely if you move to Basim as the commander. He is your guaranteed low cost creature. You play him, you protect him. Let's talk about other historic permanents that are going to be valuable for you to have and are going to help you like spread damage, get value. Do less than or equal to 4. Let's drop some equipments in this bitch. Sword of the Animist is a very old reliable for ramping you. This will help get you to double casting assassins. It will get you casting a really big assassin much more quickly. I don't love Feast and Famine for this type of deck. It's just going to make people hate you. Hammer of Nazan is pretty valuable because it free equips and will also make them indestructible. Colossus Hammer is just funny, but you shouldn't play it. I love Buster Sword. Again, IP locked versus not IP locked. For you personally, probably, am I playing in a situation where I can proxy, where I can't proxy because of the price associated with it? But supremely fun card that gives a shitload of advantage. And if you just do Basim, play this on turn 3, swing unblockable Basim, equip this on turn 4, and then just chuck him at somebody, even if he's not unblockable, you either get a lot of damage or you get to free cast something very, very impactful. Sword of Fire and Ice is probably one of the better ones, as evidenced by how much it fucking costs. It's one of the better ones in every single deck that has creatures. But having like pings of 2 damage to throw around, that can get rid of people's early ramp. It can get rid of their pesky utility creatures. It can get rid of their pesky creature combo pieces. And it'll chuck on even more card draw for you. Uh, Truth and Justice would also be a pretty powerful one, but let's try to look at some that aren't going to cost $18 million, huh? We don't want Bloodthirsty Blade. If you do lean into a more artifact heavy deck, Adaptive Omni Tool is crazy slept on. The price, I think, is going up over time as people realize how wrong they were about Aether Drift, but this is incredibly, incredibly good. Hit Boy, also shockingly good. Again, breaking IP a little bit, but I know that the Assassin's Creed franchise jumps around in time. Maybe, hey, they just jumped far forward in time. You're an assassin in the Las Vegas wasteland, baby. But to elaborate on this point, this is the type of card that will give you a lot of value over the course of a game because it is not worth removing. If people have artifact removal, very, very few people are tweaking about the Pip-Boy 3000. This one also curves out relatively well. You can either have it on the field before Basim is played, or you can play it on turn 3 for 1 mana, and then hold up mana for interaction or to equip it in main phase 2 or something. Or on turn 3, just play equip and then get the benefit immediately. Never underestimate, as you are a player who has islands, the power of being able to untap 2 islands before your end step. Don't really need any of these. Don't really need these. Lost GT, also very good for the same reasons. Also pricey, just not $50 like these amazing all-star equipments. Conformer Shuriken, another fucking insane one. And basically all of these do fit into the Assassin's Toolkit. They're just not from Assassin's Creed. So if you wanted to have a deck that was mostly like legendary assassins or things that are kitty corner to assassins, like close to them in the zeitgeist, and then you have a lot of ninja tools for them, that is very, very doable. And you can definitely operate in bracket 2 or bracket 3 with that. So I would look through all these equipment that are relatively cheap. And after these that I've called out is already pretty good, you can kind of just grab whatever looks fun. That's the beauty of bracket 2. But let's talk about who are the legendaries we need. Let me just look at the assassins we have. Okay. Masker Girl would be very, very good for you. Wither is a very fucking imposing keyword. We already talked about this guy. Wrong IP, but is quite good. Ramses is pretty fun and gives you a potential out. Now, the only problem with this is like if you care about being clowned for being generic, this is the most Wonder Bread, peanut butter and jelly with the crust cut off, assassin win con you can ever think of. That said, fuck those people. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches taste delicious, and it's very fun to win with this guy. If you ever resolve him, people will try to board wipe you, though. So if you don't want to deal with that heat, don't put him in. Calidus Assassin is cool as shit, but is again more futuristic than Assassin's Creed normally deals with. These guys are pretty bad. Pretty goddamn bad. I'll tell you what. Oh my lord. I don't think your deck really loves Reno and Root. Like we don't have stuff. We don't have stuff to feed to them. Okay, yeah. I see. I see your difficulty. I recognize your difficulty. This is a much harder path than I would have thought. I would have thought Assassins got more support than this. So we can still work with that. The other angle we can lean into is historic, which means we can grab legendary creatures that help this game plan that aren't necessarily assassins, and then we can just fucking headcanon them as assassins. My favorite bad legendary that would help with this plan is Drana, Liberator of Malakir. Oh, she's an ally. She's a freedom fighter. They have little blades in their hands. That's basically all an assassin has to do. And so if you're swinging out over and over and over again, this is a way to get some counter growth on your whole board. I'm not going to bullshit you and tell you that she's amazing, but she's very fun. And if you get to keep her for a couple turns, you'll actually have a board that can like block stuff, that can kill people, etc., etc. Another effect that would be good for you is ways to convert card draw into advantage, whether that is like just damage on board, whether that is more creatures. um what's a legendary that can do that, Lila? So this is again, we're fucking around with IPs, and that's what I'm talking about with IP locked being a lower bracket. This is from Spider-Man. I swear to God, they have a lot of computer screens. You can just pretend this is your Animus. Anytime you draw a card, get a counter on a creature. This is a way to kind of get a critical mass of those effects that are going to buff your board up so that you're not left totally in the dust by the dinosaur player. I think I can search for legendary too. I can. So is legendary, is creature. I'm going to say mana value less than or equal to 5. Go Dimir. Who is going to fit our needs? And if you are not already familiar with Scryfall Advanced, I would recommend getting familiar with it. It's not that difficult to learn. You can reuse a lot of the syntax I'm using here, and it will provide you, it will just make it way easier to research everything. So you could do like Gonti, who does a little theft. He's a death toucher. That makes him fun. Grazilax is going to be incredibly impactful. Um, This is going to give you more card draw, or you can save your assassin. It basically lets you swing out every turn, and if the blocks are bad, oh no, it didn't happen. Fuck you. Uh, hey, how do you feel about photoshopping a knife into this bird's hand and calling him a member of the Assassin Brotherhood? Like, Gix does the same thing. Um, Yuriko cares about ninjas, which is a little different. Rev cares about it. Danny Pink could be kind of neat if you went for this, like, if you went really in on, I'm going to be buffing my board via 1/1 counters over and over and over again. I don't think we have a ton of pirate overlap. Urtai is better than a lot of people give him credit for. I think there was one or two more cards in particular I was thinking of. Oh yeah, the other effects I'm thinking of is effectively more copies of Ezio. Cards that are very, very good are the Enduring Curiosities of the World. The last O tag I'm going to leave you with is Saboteur. Saboteur is the O tag for stuff that cares about you dealing combat damage to somebody. This one is not technically historic, but it is very, very, very good because even if it gets killed, hey, guess what? I can just play it again. And then on top of, so we have Ramses to try to win the game. We have putting a bunch of plus one counters on my on my guys when I hit you or draw cards. And then another thing we can do is Primal Odin, who is a Final Fantasy knight, but he does assassinate a bitch with the Zantetsuken. So if you can clear the way for him or make him unblockable, you can just make somebody straight up lose. That's pretty fun to me. Um, so let's tie this all in a nice bun. If you don't want to use any of the non-Assassin's Creed characters that I'm telling you about, this can still definitely work at bracket 2 if you take all of the legendary Assassin's Creed characters and you take all of their assassin weapons, which like they have swords in the game, they have you could pretend there's a wrist knife in here, they have little daggers in the game. I don't think they have shuriken specifically, but like there's a ton of weaponry that you can outfit Basim with, that you can outfit your other assassins with, and it'll work pretty well as long as the cards keep flowing. If you want to try to push for bracket 3, you should look more into other legendary creatures that can help my plan. And helping your plan means they care about dealing combat damage, they help you deal combat damage, or they shoot a motherfucker in the head. And if you just stuff those in there, you'll be able to rock and you'll be able to have a good time and hopefully not want to quit Magic. I'm sorry that it has been so frustrating for you. You are playing the archetype that people pretend is, what's the right wording for this? Gimme or Combat is the archetype where the picture people paint of it is the furthest away from what it actually is. People act like you are the devil and you are like nothing. You're like the weakest deck at the table basically every single game. So anybody in the comments, let me know if there are any of your favorite blue-black combat tempo cards that I am forgetting about. I wish you the best of luck, and I do hope this helps.